How things going up there?
It's going all right, man.
Got that workout in?
Man.
Wait, who?
Brother Khalil.
I'm like an hour, I was like, I should stop. And I was like, I shouldn't stop. I kept going.
Yeah, that's an intense workout, the kettlebell.
Yeah, I went from doing heavy compound to I watched this guy use kettlebells, and I was like, that actually looks a lot more fun. So I started using kettlebells, and oh man, I wish I never did.
Yeah. That's something else. I had went to a new dojo yesterday, and it was crazy. It was fun. But I was sparring with this or rolling. I was rolling with this guy. He was way bigger than I was, and it was tough trying to get him off me. But it was fun, though.
Yeah, keep talking. I'm trying to get stuff situated. Just trying to get the information for the meeting that we're having. Trying to put that in the chat. Give me 1 second. Give me 1 second.
Hello?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Hey fellas, quick question. What y'all think about going to gyms right now with the spike and all this stuff coming back around? I think it's wise for us to be going back.
I think it depends on the gym, because some of them they put a lot more money into what's the word I'm looking for? Pretty much making sure that people are safe as far as like cleanliness. There we go, cleanliness. But then you'll have some places that'll get like watered down alcohol wipes and then wipe the gym equipment down. So it all just depends.
Yeah, because I'm in a little spot too, and I'm just thinking like, okay, like a month and a half ago they said everything was good, you didn't have to wear masks, and then you get this whole variant thing going on again, and it's like, man, should I just mask up anyway? Well, I think it's a smart thing to just mask up anyway if you won't go. You know what I mean? Stay double protected at this point.
Yeah. I know I've seen some people, I guess it's kind of a come up for them, because they'll have those air restricted masks that they're wearing. So it's kind of like they get to train their lungs and they're breathing, but they're also wearing a mask at the same time.
Right. Kill two birds, huh?
Yeah. But I ended up getting my own home gym after when COVID first struck. It was actually a few months before COVID started to get real big. I got super lucky.
What'd you get?
So at first I got like 10 to 50 pound dumbbells and a stationary bike for like, I think it was like $200. And then I got some Olympic plates and 2 barbells for $150. I got like 200 pounds of Olympic plates. So
Nice.
I mean, it was like, she gave it to me for like 50 cents a pound. I was like, oh, this is but she was super, it was a crazy day. That lady was super drunk. I was like, let me get up out of here. Because before she starts acting crazier. But yeah, I got a good deal on that. And then we got a power cage from Walmart for I think $150.
That's like almost like the Smith machine that holds the
just without the hydraulic. Yeah, without the hydraulic part.
Nice.
I was a little iffy on it at first, but then a couple of people on YouTube tested it and like just straight up dropped 700 pounds on it, and it was fine. So I was like, all right, I'm good, because I'm not going to be lifting 700 pounds.
Right.
I'm only 5'9", and if I'm lifting 700 pounds, my back is going to be shot.
Yeah.
And then we ended up getting a treadmill, but other than that, it's kind of a treadmill and then the kettlebells, which are my favorite right now. But other than that, so.
Hold on. Hey, can somebody? I'm trying to text brother Brother Elbert, I texted him twice. The code, can you text it to him?
I'll send it to him.
Thank you. Real quick, you see that you can't get iron right now. You know that, right? It's real. Oh, here he is. He got it. He got it. I think it's old number. Can y'all see that?
Yeah.
You see those?
What are those the concrete plates?
Yeah, it's my father.
With the plastic on the outside?
Yeah.
Wow.
He made no, because you can't get the man, iron is
Y'all trying to keep me out the conversation. I ain't going out like that. You know, I talk too much.
Yeah, tell him.
Only thing you do too much, apologize too much.
Well, yeah, that too, because I'm afraid, you know, sometimes I'm afraid I bother people, you know.
No, brother. Did you put the O one in? Because I
put in the 859.
I sent the new one. But yeah, anybody trying to keep you out, bro. Keep driving the conversation, you and Brother Willie.
All right. Well, Brother Austin, good to see you.
Good to see you as well.
I'm coming to support you, brother, because I know you've been working on this.
Trying, that's all.
Peace, everyone.
Yeah, peace, brother. How you
Peace,
doing?
brother Isaac.
Yeah, I'm good, man. Brother Willie, how you doing, man?
Holding up, brother. Thank you.
Yeah,
well,
brother.
thanks.
That's good. That's good.
Yeah.
Just again, everybody will be in Indianapolis on Saturday. That's coming up on the 31st, 2021. Embassy Suites by Hilton, Indianapolis North in the Valencia boardroom at 12 p.m. That's in the chat. And as I'm reading this from the chat, this sister said, maybe you should exercise in God's earth, not in a facility, no mask required. Somebody.
What she said that is?
She said, maybe you should exercise in God's earth, not a facility. No mask required.
That's a fact.
I mean, that's actually not a bad idea. I was always leery of the I'm not telling anybody to go or not to go, so I don't want to be misconstrued. But yeah, I was always leery before the vaccine. Everybody's sweating on all the equipment.
It's true.
So
and don't wipe nothing up.
Yeah.
What's up, man?
So
what are you doing?
I'm on a Zoom call.
Why are you on the Zoom call?
The way you're on the Zoom call, young lion.
Hey. Huh?
Young lion.
Yeah, this is my little cousin. His name is Mason.
What's up, Mason?
What's up, Mason?
They said, "What's up, man?" Here, talk to him.
Like, no, I ain't trying to be.
What's up?
You gotta stay around, bro.
You get out of here.
I said, I'm gone.
What's up, Deontay? How you doing?
Doing all right. How everybody doing?
Good.
All right, brother. How you doing?
Good.
You in San Francisco, Deontay?
You got the Golden Gate Bridge in the background.
Yeah, I'm not sure where that is exactly.
Oh, okay.
That's the Golden Gate Bridge, brother. That's San Fran. Where the family of four making $100,000 is considered below the poverty line.
Living in a minivan,
Yeah, people use the bathroom in the streets.
They have a doodle patrol. They have a feces patrol, literally, to keep the human feces off the street. So many homeless people, they just unfortunately, they just defecate right there on the street. I don't understand living in California at this time.
Right.
I couldn't do it. But we know you're not in California. You're in the stomping grounds. Yeah. What was I gonna say? Speaking of that, since I brought up California, what do you brothers think? Newsom, the governor Newsom, who they're trying to get a recall on, he's extending the rent moratorium in California, but Biden has basically said his hands are tied and that rent moratorium is going to end by August 1st, I believe.
Yeah.
What do you brothers think?
Sad situation.
it is sad. The thing, because I used to be a landlord, and when I had a tenant that would get 3 months behind, it put me in a bind, you know. And now these guys, some of these people haven't been paid in what, a year and a half or so, and it instead they should have gave the money directly to the landlords or the people that own the property, because the way they got it set up is the tenant has to go apply, and the tenants are, they said they're going through so many hoops to get that government funding that most of the money is still sitting there waiting for them to give it out, because he said each of the states get to dole it out how they see fit. They said there's plenty of money, they're just not distributing it to the people to pay so they can pay their mortgages and stuff. There was a lady here that said she was approved to get it, but they still haven't given it to her so she could pay her rent. So it's a terrible situation all the way around.
Yeah. It's not looking good. It's not looking good at all, unfortunately. But I know that's a long time waiting on some rent.
Yeah.
And
So it's getting ready to happen, you know. Because you remember we went to the Supreme Court. That's how they got it this far.
Right. And he said his hands are tied with it. So
yeah. Supreme Court gave him this last 30 days and said after this, they said it's up to Congress.
Right.
For Congress to do something. So they said the CDC said it was unconstitutional for them to just issue it on their own. So,
say it again.
The Supreme Court ruled that it was unconstitutional because the CDC put that in place on their own. And they took it to court and said it was unconstitutional. They don't have that power.
Brother.
So the settlement they made was give them 30 more days. And then after that, he said it's up to Congress. John Roberts, the Supreme Court Justice, he said after this last 30 days he just gave them, he said Congress has to do something if they want to continue it past this point.
Brother, the CDC is a private company.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, so is the Federal Reserve.
So Federal Reserve is a private conglomerate of banks. Nothing federal about it.
Right.
Except they running them.
Running everything.
Whoever control the purse controls the country. What did Rothschild say? Hey, I can control the purse, I care not for a country's laws.
There you go.
Real quick, hold on. Hey,
all right, never mind. That's gonna go.
No. I hold your thought. Peace, brother Joseph, because I spoke to everybody and didn't speak to you, brother. Peace to you. I was trying to get that stuff. How you doing?
I'm doing well.
Good. I'm sorry, brother Elvis. Go ahead. What was you saying?
No. I was just gonna talk about the CDC. They used to be well, I don't know if this is the right place to say it before I get never mind. The roots of the CDC, what they were before they became the CDC. So I'm gonna let that go because I don't want to get we get off in the weeds. So
well, you go ahead, brother. Say what you about to say.
The CDC used to control, before they were the CDC, I forgot the name of what they actually called them, but that they used to take care of, they used to get rid of what they called undesirables. I can't remember the name they had before they were the CDC.
Are you saying they were engaged in eugenics? Are you saying
thank you. Yes. From some of the stuff I read. And then when they found out, they switched it and went under another name. If I'm recalling correctly, because I get a lot of stuff mixed up. There's so much stuff going on. But that's what it was. Wow. Get my Google out.
Yeah, that's everybody use. They think I know this 100% fact. You know what I'm finding out about Google and using other search engines? Google does a lot of burying. They bury a lot of information. So you look on GoDaddy or some other
Oh,
search,
yes.
you type in the same thing. Cause I type in something and you can tell that they are varying specific topics or giving you what almost like
Right.
conditioning you to
What they
think,
want you
but
to
you
do.
can't even find information that you know is there. So
Yeah, I stopped using them guys, man.
what's that, brother?
I stopped use Google. I use DuckDuckGo.
Yeah, man. It's
Same
wow.
here.
Go.
Yeah.
Go,
Duck.
DuckDuckGo.
Oh, duck.
Stopped
Yeah.
using Google 2 years ago.
Yep.
Wow.
Yeah,
I'm
I DuckDuckGo for a long time ago, years ago, and now I'm back using it again because Google.
And if you want to see something crazy, download the DuckDuckGo browser for your phone, and they rate the website according to tracking. And it's crazy the amount of tracking these guys have on you.
You talking about on Google?
DuckDuckGo has a browser, right? That will show you all the tracking, and it will rate the website that you visit, whether B or A, and then it will show you all who tracking you. It's crazy.
You saying they're tracking you?
Yeah,
No,
like
who's tracking?
it shows you who's tracking you.
Yeah, and
Oh, gotcha.
there's lots of trackers.
Yeah, like some sites will have like 40 something trackers on you, and they will follow you all over the net.
Yep.
And DuckDuckGo will rate, like if you go on CNN with DuckDuckGo browser on your phone, I think they get a D or a C minus or something like that. It rate them in the browser. It will tell you, it will show you a B in the search bar, like in the URL bar. And then when you tap that, you'll see the ratings it gets, who tracking you, and like I was shocked. I was really shocked.
I heard something today that they have a microphone on Google. I was listening to this news report, and it doesn't necessarily listen to everything, but it can pick up sounds like if you outside, and it can kind of track you wherever you go.
They even track your motion detector on the phone.
Yeah, I know.
They will track your behavior, like how you walk to know.
Well,
These guys,
that's not all. I mean, you used to be able to remove your battery out of your phones. Now you cannot.
yeah.
I wonder why. You turn it off, it don't mean anything. They're still here. They still here and see anything they want.
Yep.
I watched one of my phones sat on my desk for 2 years, and that sucker, it turned itself on. That was one of those I was able to remove the battery. I took it out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I came across that about 10 years ago. They mentioned it, and then they quit talking about it. You
really got to
mention certain things. Yeah.
I'm putting it on the phone now, and it said, next trap isn't one of your favorites. I put the DuckDuckGo because I didn't have it on my phone. It was on the computer. It said I'll block trackers so they can't spy on me.
Yeah. When you finish it, visit CNN, and then it will show you in the browser bar the amount of trackers there. Like CNN are like 45 trackers on the website.
Willie, between Willie and Isaiah, they got me downloading all type of stuff. Look, I can't even.
Man, Google, Amazon, and one other are trying to track you here. I blocked them.
Yeah.
So they're tracking me on when I went to CNN, and they following me on CNN. Huh?
Yep.
Wow. That's something.
Yeah, man. And this browser just come out like a couple of weeks ago, right? For mobile. And these guys been doing this for years.
Crazy.
Man, it didn't. You said put in CNN?
I put the app, the DuckDuckGo app on the phone and use that. And they told me that Google and Amazon and somebody else was tracking me.
Well, it didn't tell me nothing.
I put it. We got it. I think you had an app though. You had an app.
Yeah, I just downloaded it.
Okay.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah, type in CNN now and you'll see.
That's crazy.
Almost every website track you.
Yeah,
Hey,
if you really want to find out something, actually, Google and YouTube are both about the same when it comes to being very, well, they're all in you.
Yeah.
Google and YouTube's all
I
in you.
didn't get it. Yeah.
What's going on, brother? I hear him, brother Wayne. That going. Good, brother. Well, I need it. You gotta unmute, brother. And you know what? Put your if you listening to YouTube, put that on mute.
Speak on. That's it.
Okay. How you doing?
I'm doing well. Hold on. Let me see if I can cut that off. All right. I don't know if I can hear you now. Yeah. Say something.
Something.
I can't hear you.
You can't hear me? Okay, don't worry about it. I just when you talking, I just
Yeah, I'm not hearing you right now.
Uh-oh.
Let me see.
All right, we'll figure it out. Why he doing that? I wanted to
Okay.
How about now?
Yeah, I can hear you now. It was turned off here.
Okay, how you doing?
I'm doing good.
Good.
I was thinking if they're tracking you, they're tracking all of us as well.
Mm-hmm.
If
you're being tracked, we are being tracked as well.
What are you saying? You saying because we're all congregating with each other, or just a separate that's just tracking everybody?
No, I'm talking about in the case where they're tracking you, they're tracking all your contacts. They're tracking all of them.
That's what you're saying. Yeah.
Yeah, so we're also being tracked.
Every device is being tracked.
Right. Well, I understand that, but I'm saying that there seems to be an emphasis put up on what we're doing. Everybody tracked, but not like we're being tracked.
Think so?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, without question.
I wonder why that is. Why do you think that is?
Right, because of what we're saying. What we're saying is contrary to the world. So of course, we're going against their belief system and the things that they're pushing. So we're a threat. We're a threat to people buying into all the things they're putting out there. They just can't put things out there to us. We have a greater understanding about what they're doing. So we're not buying into it. Like you're talking about just taking the shot alone. We are looking at this with a greater consideration, with more insight from a spiritual perspective, with a spiritual eye, not just what they're pushing out there, not what they're putting on TV and what everybody's talking about. Everybody else is locked into the television, following whatever else is going on. So whatever's going on, they're locked into it. They're doing it. They're following it. So
maybe I mean, preach the word. Say you better get your act together, get your house in order, you're gonna go to hell. That's it. Repent and be baptized in his name.
That's it.
That's about it.
Yeah.
Act like you got some sense. That's about it. And do it to the end so you can be saved. That's about it.
Yeah, but it's also affecting your conduct, how you behave, the things you do. You know, it's changing your walk. And they want everybody to walk the way they walk and influence their walk. And we're not being influenced by it. That's a problem for them. Just like they want everybody to take the shot, take the COVID-19, and want to take the vaccine. That's just an example. I mean, but you know, throughout everything they're doing, if you don't buy into it, you're a threat. You're not American. You're not one of us. If you don't believe like we believe, you know, that's their feeling. That's how they are moving. You know, and every group is like that. These groups. Remember, we joined a fishing club.
Mm-hmm.
And what were they doing? They would stand up doing the Pledge of Allegiance and then all patriotic. I said, man, we got to get out of here.
It wasn't looking right.
It was a mess.
That definitely was when in there. It was on some. You could tell that was about keeping certain people out.
Yes.
Yeah. That was. I forgot about that. But yeah.
Yeah.
They had their own. They weren't lakes, but bodies of water that was sectioned off. Yeah, they have a code to get in there, and like a card, and pay for membership. And you had everything. They had to volunteer. They wanted to volunteer you to work events. Everything was on the Sabbath, so could never do that.
Mm-hmm.
But I remember that. Yeah, you could tell that was a different bunch. For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Plus, we're telling the end time prophecy, right? So that also makes it worse.
I think that's that more than anything. And the fact that, I mean, we don't reject nobody on color on basis of race or ethnicity, but being predominantly Black is an issue. Yeah, it's definitely an issue. I think just pre-thinking is a problem to be, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I agree.
Thinking.
Especially if you have the ability to influence other people. If you just thinking on your own, they can blow you off as a quack. But if you manage to get a following behind you, now you become a problem. You know.
Hey, and not only just other minds, but the particular mind. We're talking about men. Men as non-stepping up and taking their rightful position and place and operating according to how men should operate. That is a serious threat.
Yeah.
Our problem.
Go ahead, brother.
Yeah, I said that's been our problem all along. We have not men. And if we set up and started being men, a lot of stuff just wouldn't be happening. It just wouldn't go on. Just police wouldn't be driving in our community doing the things they're doing. That if we were men.
Well, yeah, because we police our homes.
Yeah.
We police our own neighborhoods. And I'm not saying necessarily you have to have a force doing it, but we control our households, thus controlling our children, because it's usually the young people the ones that are doing this. And if you have older males that are in charge running the community, it's less likely that younger males are doing engaged in riffraff and things that they should, because they know they're gonna have to deal with pops at home.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's the way Brother Elvis, so he was speeding and the cop pulled him over and his father came out. He said, "Oh no, talk to your father. Tell your father what you did."
Yeah, that was scary. That was scary.
Yeah.
Pop could knock my head off and ain't nobody filing charges. You know what I'm saying?
Not at all.
Yeah.
Not at all.
I'm hearing you saying that, Brother Wayman, but I've heard brothers say that, but I since I've been hearing you brothers talk, I grew up in the 80s. I've been married since 1990. So I started looking into some of this stuff y'all telling me. And man, men don't have the support that they used to have. I had a little touch of that when I went to court for custody. But the madness that I shouldn't say madness, I use that word a lot. But the stuff that I see going on now, you know, because I was speaking from a position of ignorance just based on my experience growing up. But now that I start to look at what these kids, I shouldn't say children, but young adults, like my kids are a little bit older than Brother Austin. And it's sad. It's like the whole system, I'm honestly believing is rigged against men of all colors, you know, especially in this country. And I had sent them a video because, you know, I'm all right, y'all know I'm that old school dude that thought men roll how we roll. And you know, and that's what got Bill Cosby. He was still rolling how he rolled, and the other dude. But the point is, the world has changed and men ain't in charge around right now. I hate to say that. You know, even though I'm still roll that way, it seems like I'm gonna be on my own because the system ain't gonna back me. The system is not backing masculine men. And then, and the reason why I thought about it even more, when they busted up my firehouse, I worked with like 5 dudes just like me, and black and white dudes, just hard. If you didn't roll with us, get out our firehouse. We run in the building, ain't none of that tiptoe timid. They put people in power to get rid of dudes like us. The police department here is buying out 100 senior officers. So when they say change the culture, they mean get the brutes, as they would prefer, as they would say it, or the testosterone monsters, or whatever you want to call it, get them out the way, so they can bring in this new wave of what's his name, Lil Nas X firefighters or police officers. Lil Nas.
Oh man,
That's funny.
ain't no fire gonna be fought.
I'm getting trouble again, ain't I?
Hey,
Oh,
no,
man,
hey,
you know
brother, let me ask you a question. 2
Please.
questions. You said the support we used to have. Can you expound on that? What you mean by that?
It ain't there no more.
What support was there as well? Basically, what I'm asking.
Okay, back in the 80s, the older women would constantly remind these younger girls, you have no idea what men have gone through.
Mm-hmm.
You have no idea. And there ain't nobody reminding them no more. My wife is constantly telling women, ho. Don't challenge that man in public. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
He's constantly telling them, ho, don't do this. You know what I'm saying? Because they feel like, you know, the woman feel like she's powerful if she blah, 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 you know, all in the dude's face. It was very rare when I was coming up that a woman would square off on a dude. And I'm watching women nowadays, these videos, whatever I'm seeing, they step into dudes like they can knock them out. Where does that come from?
Government power.
Masculine energy.
See, that's what I didn't have to deal with. There was a few sprinkled. I'm gonna tell you what's even crazier. When y'all was talking about women, very few women of virtue. I was like, you know, we had a couple of those type of women when I was coming up. But then now it seems like all these women get a pass to act however they want. Then when they get old, they find out don't nobody want. All right, I done went way off course. I'm sorry, man.
You on course, brother. This ship going in the right direction.
The reason why I bring that, I'm an old man, and I understand brothers need to hear it, and I plead that the sisters hear it, because you know I got daughters, and I really want them to understand that if anything's gonna work, you gotta look at a couple that's been married for a long time, and they done held their family together, and the husband, you know.
They're not interested in that, Brother Edward. They're interested in twerking on ambulances.
No, brother, but they got to know that leads to destruction.
I got something after Brother Khalil, unless Brother Willie has something next.
It ain't my meeting anyway. I'm sorry.
No, you good, brother. Go ahead, brother Khalil. Go ahead. What was you
I
saying?
was gonna say it's all a part of the game plan, because you gotta think with COINTELPRO, and then what they did, well, what that CIA woman did, infiltrating and like saying like, yeah, where she said, oh, not the CIA woman, but what is it, Margaret Singer, I think is her name.
Wait, which one are you talking about? She's the one that came. She was one of the founders of what became Planned Parenthood.
Okay, it might not be Margaret Singer. Whoever like started the feminist movement for women, she got another Would you say?
No, I said go ahead.
Okay, she got a prominent black leader and said middle class white woman problems are also black women's problems, and it's not the case at all. And ever between that and what the CIA woman did, it's always, for at least the last 100 years, it's been the plan to demean men, starting with us.
Brother, we taking a beating now, though. It's a terrible beating.
Yeah, I mean, but it makes sense if you want God's people to be led astray, you wouldn't allow the men to stay in the house.
Right. To where the women got, even though they was on the they used that house as a threat.
Yeah.
To keep their whatever spouse in line or whatever while he's struggling. So,
and I don't remember the exact story, but I'm sure teacher will correct me, where I think it was Jeremiah went to the Israelite women, and they pretty much said, we're going to do what we want to do and burn cakes to the Queen of Heaven.
That's he went to the Jews, who did that were in Egypt, and he was talking to them, and they were like, man, we're gonna, like he just said, we're gonna do what we want to do.
Yeah, they were like, we're blessed, we're doing fine now that we're burning cakes to the Queen of Heaven. And black women, they think they're doing fine right now. They think black men in jail.
Go ahead.
50% of black men from single mother homes or like grandmother homes and being in jail, they think that's fine and dandy. They think us being in the streets killing each other, that must be fine and dandy. And they're not taking any accountability to say, hey, maybe we do need, maybe there is a reason why all of this stuff in like the 50s and the 60s happened against black men, and maybe we need to protect black men because something's afoot. If you look at what happened between the 50s and the 70s, something was afoot. They don't just say, if you kick your man out, regardless of whether he's good or not, we'll give you money to support you.
And then turn on him.
Yep.
They got his hand up, brother.
Okay.
We got a couple of hands up.
Yeah, I don't know who was first. Help me out. Brother Willie, you got something?
I'm gonna let the hands go first. I'll listen.
Austin.
Brother.
You could go ahead, brother Deontay. I could wait.
Y'all brothers so nice. Somebody figure it out.
Okay. Well, talked about how do women square off with these men? What comes to my mind is how men used to go to prison for a long time for petty crimes. My mindset is what that does. You got men around a bunch of men with no women. Somebody's got to be weak, and then the men come back out here, and they automatically it's like an overcompensation thing. That's why guys act so tough in the street when it's unnecessary. But they still got the feminine things that may have happened to them while they were locked up. And that might be hard to get rid of it. So the woman will pick up on this because your woman pays attention to you. The woman, the children, they watch you. So when she sees these things, she's not saying nothing, but she's trying to test. She's going to end up testing him at some point. And then, different things that go on, depending on how he may handle it. Now she feels like she can square off with him because, like we talk about, she does have the state behind her. So whether or not, she can do it because she knows whether or not you're there, she can be, she could support the household. But what she doesn't understand is that you can't replace that man. And then, there's no replacing that authority in the home. There's just no replacing that. That's what I got for that.
Right. You can't replace it. You're absolutely right.
Brother Austin, you got something?
Yeah, I was gonna say that earlier this week I watched a video, and this man, he was reviewing some research by Murray A. Strias, and I guess he's a researcher on domestic violence that takes place between married couples, and he was saying that he didn't say these things verbatim. I'm kind of summarizing the things that he talked about, but he was in his research. He was explaining how feminism has impacted the data on domestic violence between partners in a way to make men look like the aggressor. And he said that the research that he uncovered, it revealed that women commit violence crimes against their spouse at the same rate that men do, but when they try to show this evidence, or when they try to mention the evidence in a public filing or something like that, they got their funding taken away, so they weren't allowed to show the evidence that women were doing these things as well as men. But I'm gonna send y'all the video, and it just talk about it was an attack on men in general, regardless of race. But it painted men in a way they seemed like they was alcoholics, or they was just beating their wife constantly or something like that, and they never mentioned anything about the women beating their spouse, but yeah.
No, you're right, because we can see it. We see it out in the streets, or where the ladies just laying hands on the dudes.
Yeah.
And then the dude finally hits her back, and then the tears come, and blah 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 blah. On and on. But
Yeah.
anyway.
When I was looking at the video, it was crazy because I know he was getting a lot of backlash for the research that he was putting forth, but it just shows like the effort that they try to. It's crazy. Try to put forth to just do that to me, but
it's a big agenda.
Yeah.
Brother Willie, you got something, brother?
Well, I would say government backing is the most secure husband to the house. It is the ace in the hole. You don't really need to have any. I got background interference at the moment. Y'all scroll around me, my son is real sick.
Okay. Okay, we'll let you get that situated. Somebody in the chat said, hold on. What is this? Brother Deontay said, when the police show up, the first thing you want to do is calm yourself down. Well, this is a broad topic. Okay. And so just to I don't want to say narrow it down, but just to kind of deal with the different aspects of it, a lot of moving parts in this. So if you take it from broadly, what you're seeing as far as feminism in America is actually feminism in the Western world. And this feminism that you're seeing is not this wave of feminism is not, even though they call it different waves. Feminism, you're talking 19th century. And you had this, and sometimes this movement, it's a movement for power. It is not a movement for equality. It's about the acquisition of power. Same as other movements. When you look at the movements for the acceptance of homosexuality, that was a movement for power. The feminist movement is a movement that is about acquiring power. This is no longer a patriarchy in the United States. It's a matriarchy as a whole with the woman on top. You know, if you doubt that, look at who's in the workforce. If you doubt that, look who's the most in colleges and universities. If you doubt that, look at the rights that women have that the opposite sex do not have. A woman could go, if she doesn't, first of all, she controls access to sex, but if she gets pregnant, once she gets pregnant, she has the quote unquote right to abort the baby if she so chooses. You look at legislation. What women are getting when they talk about equality, it's not equality in the sense of you're gonna work on the oil rig, you're gonna be the garbage woman. No, it's equal. They want equality or more access in certain areas only. Why? Because that's power. And politicians, so they're basically taking over the colleges and universities as far as what they're teaching, and they're the most in colleges and universities. In addition, politicians are going to go with what women want because women are the majority in society. So that's what's going on. Men are literally 70 years behind. They're 70 years behind the movement. When you can accuse somebody with no evidence and the person go to jail, when you can accuse somebody and it's shown that you're a liar, and then you don't get punished for lying, who has power in society? When you can make bad decisions about who you mate with, have illegitimate children, and can't take care of yourself, and the state will come in and be your husband/children's father. That right there shows you who has power in society. Now, that was a beef, if you will, that was going on between white men and white women, based on a lot of bad information. I'll give you an example. And I used to think this, putting women in positions of power, like politically, will ensure that you have less war, that there will be more civilization. That is not the case. There's no evidence for it. But that was one of the thoughts pertaining to women getting the right to vote and becoming more politically involved. Okay. That was something that was started in the 1800s, and it was about the acquisition of power. And it's still about the acquisition of power. Now you've taken shame off of the table. So not only can a woman engage in inappropriate sexual behavior with no recourse, she can be subsidized for the bad decisions that she's made by the state, e.g. Section 8 and other forms of social services. Okay, that's in addition. So yeah, this is a matriarchy. Okay, this is not a patriarchy. Look at television. They understand also, so companies also understand that they are the biggest consumers. They're spending all the money. So that's why, when's the last time you saw a commercial that was targeted towards you? Even the things that should be targeted towards you, like sports and men's products, are being pushed by women. Hence the Gillette ad. You saw the Gillette ad where they said, hey, they basically said men are misogynistic. Now this is men's razors. So they understand, so corporations understand, politicians understand, women understand. They are not going to get in pocket because they're getting too much for being out of pocket. Now it's leading to destruction.
Yeah. To their destruction, brother.
Right.
But
they will ride that out instead of submitting to you.
Brother, what I'm starting to see, now this has been in effect long enough that we're starting to see the long-term effect on older, single women.
Right.
Put their career first.
Right.
Put their children on hold.
Right.
Then ran the streets, did whatever they want.
They in trouble.
Now they old and nobody wants them.
Right.
The shocking thing was there was a research done. They said back in 1985, I think they said, if a woman wasn't married by, I think it was 30 or 35, that she had only like a 10 or 20% chance of being married after that.
Mm-hmm.
So now we are seeing the effect of this movement, where I didn't know it, but I know some women on the Prozacs or whatever. They said 25% of them are on
25%. That's that they know about. Why? Because they're doing something that's contrary to what they should be doing.
And now they want a family. Now they want to have children and all that and put their career. But it's too late. You can't take back all that madness that has happened in the past.
And you want to have children, and what, at 30, 90% of your eggs are
90% of your eggs are gone, brother. And
see,
I just want women to understand exactly what they're doing.
But I mean, we need to understand something. Just because it's logical, just because logic will tell you, wait a minute, you need to marry young, you need to marry a man who's about something, and you need to start families. That's how you get structure, support, stability, it's then and later on in life. Just because that's the logical thing to do doesn't mean that they're gonna do it.
Kids take too much energy to be having in your 40s. My kids was driving me crazy when I got older. You gotta have them while you're young, man, or you working.
See, brother, they got the wrong program. They got the wrong program.
Okay.
So if you got this particular you run on this particular program and you thought you accepted lies this whole time, and then at the same time, you have power in society, they're not going to capitulate to that, even though it would be to their best benefit.
Yeah.
It's just like when you tell kids certain things and they don't want to listen. Logic tells you that this is the right thing to do. They might know it's right, but rebellion had it. Said, I'm gonna keep going, and they will fall off the cliff.
Do what I want anyway, huh?
Yeah, I think that's you thinking logically, oh well, this is what you should do because that's logical. What logic have to, like what love have to do? What does logic have to do with it? None of this is about logic.
Follow a successful example in front of you.
Pardon me?
I would say follow a successful example that's in front of you. You have to see some successful people and pattern yourself after that. When I was coming up, I seen a couple old couples. They would get in their big old boat, Cadillac, whatever, and they would go out to dinner, but they stayed together and raised their children. And now they, on the good side,
Brother,
I know that's not what they're pushing in.
Well, not only are they not pushing that, they destroyed marriage, they destroyed the family. But why my grandparents were married 66 years? Why were those couples and my grandmother, she always had a Park Avenue. My grandfather drove a jalopy. She was always in a clean new car.
Right.
Well, my question, why did those relationships work?
We knew our roles. It was I know partnership seems to be overused, but me and my wife have a partnership. We had roles that we played, and we knew what our goal was. At least in my house, that's how we knew our goals and our agenda and what we had to do together to get there.
the relationship between men and women since antiquity has been one based upon needs from both.
Yeah.
So you need to make sure that your genetic legacy and biological imperative is met.
Right.
You want to make sure that you eat. You want to build a family. The woman needed you for protection. The woman needed you for resources. That caused a relationship based upon need.
Yeah.
But when I can say, I don't need you. I have school and I got a useless degree. You don't know it's useless at the time. I got a degree, it's useless. I don't need you.
Yeah.
I don't need, I can go and the state will give me WIC, will give me Section 8, will give me welfare. I don't need you. Now, another thing that's gone, like I talk about this a lot, is when you need to control the sexuality of women. That's not a coincidence that you see that in major religions. It's not a coincidence that you see that, because when you allow that, because the consequences are devastating. You look at our community right now, that's the consequences of that.
Yeah.
And this is not me taking the responsibility out of man's hands for what they're doing, or a group of men what they're doing. What I'm saying is you start to produce a bunch of people that will destroy a community, will destroy a society. Mm-hmm. So, but when you take shame off, because it was a thing, not only, hey, it was a shame. I came on the end of this, the shame of being considered promiscuous. It was a shame of not being married. So part of marriage was not only just the protection, not only the resources for a woman, but this is what I'm supposed to do. This is a righteous thing to do. But we are in the era of slut walks. We are in the era of Cardi B and Meg Thee Stallion. Which is a male horse. We are in that era, brother. So if that's the standard, and the standard of the woman with the hat and the nice dress suit and have some dignity in class, around the neighborhood, you might see it, church, you might see it, that's over with. That's over with. So again, it becomes, they don't think they need you. The state has told them and subsidized them in a way they don't need you. Now what could take place, which would be catastrophic, is the decline, the economic decline of society. The crumbling of civilization is the only thing that may bring them back in the pocket, because there's no inherent need for you, except when they're trying to get over. What do I mean? I need you as a stepping stone, as a starter husband to get to my next husband. So I'll use you as a means of resources, and then get married to somebody else. Or maybe not get married, but just deal. Hey, you see that whole young stuff they was doing when they was young. When I was coming up, girls was doing that young. They carrying that on to their 30s. Well into their 30s. And then you get to about 50, 60, or 40, you look back like, wait a minute. I want to get back here and then talk about what you should have.
Good.
See, that's what's going on right now. Yeah. But you have to have it has to be a need there. You have to actually need each other. If one think they don't need you, what's the benefit? Why should I submit to you? I don't need you.
I understand.
Brother, Brother Isaiah, you got something, brother?
Yeah, brother. I was about to ask you how we salvage this sinking ship. How we could patch it up and get it back on the high seas.
What you better do is you better look on the side of the ship and lower the little boats that be on the side. What you need to do,
jump in the lifeboat,
is you need to get in that and then get to rowing and hope you don't get taken down as the ship is going down. There's no salvaging this.
No salvaging.
There ain't
no. I don't see it. I see pain coming. Maybe I did. I don't. Go ahead, brother. Who was that brother? Or who? What do you think? You think we should? Let me ask you a question. What evidence do you see that it's salvageable?
I try to be honest, brother. I try to think about what we can do, because they are our sisters, right? And we need them for the future.
I don't hate them.
No, that's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is, you're saying they're our sisters. Do they look at themselves in that way? Are these your women? In other words, are these women your women? No.
No, brother.
No, they're not, because they are not your women. If they were your women, you would be in charge.
So this is Hellenization perfected then.
They're not your women. Now, I'm not saying this is, I don't want to put this, not a blanket statement, but it's far too many. The dynamic between men and women in general is devastating, but it's worse amongst us. It's a crisis amongst us. And you see it being played out every day. You see it being played out every day. And that's one of the biggest problems we have as a people. The fact that if you a people and the men and the women can't figure it out, you in trouble. And that's we in trouble. So
divine intervention then.
What's that, brother?
Divine intervention.
So you say intervention by God, but what's coming? See, but you are living. This is not me putting a limit on God, so don't get me wrong. But what do you see happening right now in this country? Well, I know you're in Canada. You talk about a real matriarchy there. What do you see going on in the Western world right now?
Total falling away from God.
People falling away from God. So what the intervention is allowing it to take place. See, sometimes the intervention is judgment. Sometimes in other words, I'm not going. He said, I'm not going to intervene. That's my intervention, letting you crumble. And that's where this society is going. At least in America, it's going downhill. So if there's a collapse in society, that could cause things to turn, because it becomes, once again, I need this man to survive.
But brother, with a collapse, we're the most vulnerable.
With a collapse, what?
We are the most vulnerable.
Yes.
Our society.
Yes.
We're the ones gonna lose the most.
Yes. You haven't said nothing wrong yet.
Oh my God.
It's a catastrophe in these urban cities right now. For us, it's a catastrophe right now. So, but I'm talking about a total collapse. And that's why, even with that's why I say may. You know what I'm saying? Because if you have a particular mentality, your mentality might not necessarily change, even though the world is crumbling around you. The world is crumbling right around you now. Nothing made you think, wait a minute, we need to do things differently. Look, brother, you go to Chicago, go to St. Louis, go to any major urban area where we're at. Heck, Baltimore. Look, these are war zones. Economic depravity, failing schools, sicker than everybody else, poorer than everybody else, families destroyed. Detroit, crime run amok. That don't tell you that maybe we need to get this thing together? You think you would have that if you had the divine order in a household, God, the Lord, man, woman, and child? You wouldn't. That, but they're not, bro. So yeah, brother, you talking about salvaging the ship. What you better do is save yourself. This ship is it's going down. That's what I'm saying. What make you think what evidence do you see?
He's just being
Well,
what you say, brother?
He was just being hopeful.
He was just being hopeful. What you better do is be logical. You better not for real. In your personal life, you need to be logical. You see the
brother,
shit going down. Yeah.
Brother, but if a lot of us start talking about it, you know what I mean? If a lot of us start saying, screaming, the house on fire, right? We could save some.
I'm not saying you can't save some.
But it's gone. The house burned.
Bro.
I think Martin tried to tell us the house is on fire.
And Farrakhan said you better let it burn. They was talking about in America though. They was talking about America as a whole. They would, and just provide some context. They were talking about the racial division in the country. Martin said we had to be firemen to put the fire out. Peace and love. Farrakhan said the house is burning. And he said, let it burn. See, it's not always that you said it, brother. You mentioned Jeremiah 44. If the prophet coming to the people and telling them, thus saith the Lord, and the people say, we not listening to you. Matter of fact, we gonna go back and burn cakes to the queen, make cakes to the queen of heaven. For since we stopped doing that, that's the problem. The mentality, brother, warrants a burning. You look at the country, what makes you think that this country is deserving of any reprieve? Brother, they've killed 60 million babies in abortion. We've killed 20 million. And on top of that, we'll take the dead and then use them to make vaccines. You know how evil that is? And sell the body parts. You know how evil that is, brother? You talking about a country that purports pornography, sex trafficking, wars of the most impoverished and destitute people on the planet, thievery, drug use run amok. I'm not talking about just smoking some weed. You got, what you think built these cities? Drug money. You go to Afghanistan and what you do? Make sure that poppy is flowing.
They kept the poppy flowing.
Yeah, brother. And you why should the ship be saved?
Yeah, you just described Frankenstein.
What's that, brother?
You just described Frankenstein.
Frankenstein.
Movie. You remember the movie?
Yeah.
You probably,
Frankenstein. Yeah. Uh-huh.
It's Frankenstein. The people that came to, he developed or he put together all these body parts to make a beast or a monster. And the people came to kill Frankenstein, not the monster. They came to kill the doctor. This country has been Frankenstein. It's been doing those kinds of things that you described. And this is something that went back. I've looked at that whole concept years ago about how, because somebody also said it who was in prison, who was being treated and being talked about as if he was somebody very evil before they really started this concept that we were super criminals. he was on trial, and the judge came in and was criminalizing him right up front, before his case even started. But he said, that's not me. That's not who I am. He's making me out of a Frankenstein. I'm not Frankenstein. I'm not that kind of person. But the judge already had this opinion of him, describing his brother as he was some kind of super predator. This was years ago. I'm talking about probably in the 70s or 80s when this was going on. And of course, now it's gotten a whole lot worse. But when you start talking about they're taking babies and making vaccines and using their body parts to do all those other things that they're doing, making all kind of medicines and stuff, that's Frankenstein. And so we are not looking at this country as if it's something evil. We're looking at this country as if we want to try to fix it and do something right by it. But as you rightfully pointed out, judgment is coming. We need to prepare ourselves and be men for judgment and operate according to what we should do so that we're on the right side of judgment.
Right. And you get out of the way. Right, exactly. You get out of the way of judgment.
Teacher,
Go ahead.
let me ask you something. From what you've been teaching us, right? Would you say the world or the Western Hemisphere wickedness surpassed the Canaanites for the things they've been doing?
You said the Western world?
Yeah, the whole world in perspective. Do you think we surpassed the Canaanite in the wickedness they were doing?
Well, okay, if you say the Western world, okay, so let's start with, where do I want to start with the Western world? I mean, just
Greece.
like in Canaan, in the land, they were engaged in paganism. If you look at the spiritual systems of the Western world, they were pagan in origin until the faith was introduced into Europe. They co-opted that, filled a cup full of wine and spread that throughout the world, an adulterated form of a faith system to not only colonize, but to enslave millions of people. You know, the bottom of the Atlantic Ocean is tethered with, was full of bones. It's a kingdom, August Wilson says, a kingdom of bones in the place. All those that didn't make it across the water. So
Right.
you can start there, and even how they would treat their own intertribal warfare. You look at how they treated each other. You look at the cesspool that Europe was. People have this mindset about Europe as it was this great place to live. It was not. That's why so many people were leaving.
Yeah.
You don't have whole colonies that are penal colonies like Australia because Britain is so great. No. So you can go there. You look at what's been done to Africa by the West. You look at what's been done to Asia. How you can get a whole group of people, a whole nation, hook them on opium so you can exploit them economically. You look at what's been done here. You look at what's been done to the indigenous in North, Central, and South America. There are no more Arawak people. They wiped them out.
Yeah.
So now you look at your warfare as military science increases. Now your warfare is much more encompassing, is much more destructive. You have nuclear weapons. You drop two atomic bombs on Nagasaki and Hiroshima. The world has been in these huge wars recently because of what the Western world has done. Your influence goes throughout the world. Your culture, which is full of debauchery and immorality, goes throughout the entire world. And then on top of that, you have the audacity to say you're a God-fearing country, that you don't do any wrong. I understand, and I don't agree with the faith system of Islam. That's prominent in the so-called Middle East. But I understand why they have a disdain for the West. They have a disdain for the West, not because of their thirst for oil and geopolitical dominance. They hate the culture that permeates their culture. So you say the Canaanite, every country, they have a cup of iniquity. These kingdoms have a cup of iniquity. You can read in Genesis about the cup of iniquity, and Amorites was not yet full when the vision that was given to Abraham. It wasn't full until Israel was going in and brought forth that judgment of God. Israel was the judgment of God upon those 7 nations that were in Canaan. But then when Israel would continue to sin, hey, that cup of iniquity reached its brim. I'm going to say this. With all the things that were going on with sacrifice to Molech, did they kill 60 million? You've sacrificed 60 million babies on the altar of convenience. You've enslaved 246 years Black folks in this country. You enslaved and massacred the indigenous. You bring hell anywhere you want so you can extract resources. So when you say, have they done more? Brother, how much more are they gonna do? You got my hands up.
Yeah, I was going to. Yeah, Austin.
No, go ahead, bro. Go ahead.
No, these brothers had their hands up.
Oh, well, which one of y'all had your hand up? I was on a soapbox. Which one of y'all? Who was?
I think Austin was before me.
Go ahead.
I was just gonna say that I don't know if you all had saw. I saw a video recently where it was a child who was saying that they were going to commit suicide because their mother had like an OnlyFans account or something like that.
Yeah.
People were making fun of that, and I just thought about that as we were talking about those things earlier. But it's just sad to see the impact that's had on children.
And what did she tell him? His friends saw that.
Yeah.
And that's why he didn't know anything about it. His friends told him that. And what did she tell him?
She was like, she said that's her occupation or something like that. Like,
it's no big deal.
Yeah, it's no big deal. Yeah.
Oh, that's a big deal.
That's how making money. Now, brother Elbert.
Yeah.
Going back to what I was talking about earlier with the shame being taken away. See, there's no shame for being, quite frankly, whorish.
They're insane. They're insane if they don't believe that. Because as old as I am, my kids still, and my wife, they go, and my grandson, my dad can do this, my dad can do that, So if I was raggedy, drunk, blowed out my mind, they couldn't hold me up as a figure. So however I walk, that's how my kids, they need to be. I'm sorry, man.
No. You ain't sorry. You're not a woman, though.
I know, man. I know, but I'm just saying the same goes for a lot of men too. But the same thing goes for a lot of men as well. But I used to tell people this. Back when Madonna and a lot of these women stars was doing their thing, even J-Lo today. I used to tell my daughter, I said, I date her and I'm broke. But I wouldn't want her for my baby's mama because the whole world just seen her. Seeing her body, her everything, They know the different dudes she been with. And I'm broke and wouldn't want a kid with her.
Well, here's the thing though, brother. The shame is, number one, the shame is gone. And so number two, men and women are not operating according to the same rules. She could be all of that, but she's still a black queen. What did Tupac say? You was a crack fiend and a black queen.
To who?
You would just be, if you and me was doing that, we'd just be bums. Okay?
Yeah.
Now, secondly,
yeah.
Well,
we don't get a pass. You're absolutely right.
We don't get a pass. We don't get a pass. But so if there's no shame, what it mean? And you will always find some simp dude who will deal with that.
I know.
You will always find one.
Yeah, I heard y'all talk about simps and betas.
You will find one that will do. That's who they looking for. Say who gonna clean? I always say who gonna clean this mess up.
Oh man.
A real man gonna look at him like no. A logical man be like no, that's a liability. That's no. A simp, okay. That's you gonna.
Yeah.
They're gonna always find that the world full of simps.
Well,
cause they ain't seen no man. They ain't been look. They. There's a bunch of them. They gonna.
No, I was gonna say I heard one of the gentlemen saying they gonna stop marrying until they change these stupid laws. Because like I said, I some of the stuff I've heard y'all discuss, I was completely ignorant about. So I started looking into it. So I understand now what these guys, that movement is. It's like, we ain't doing nothing till y'all change these laws. I'm talking about regarding marriage or and divorce and all that. So at least that's what the explanation that these guys were saying. So I'm sorry, brother. I took your time, didn't I, Khalil? I'm sorry.
No, you good, brother. But I enjoy listening.
Okay. Sign of the time shows improve regardless of nation, people, ethnicities in society.
You want to go ahead, brother Khalil?
Yeah, I was just thinking that a lot of, like, I know people make the excuse of, well, this is a new day and age, and times have changed. But really, America is doing a lot of the stuff that the Greeks were doing, and then the Romans took on, and then the French took on, and then the Spanish and the British and all, so on and so forth. So really, nothing of it is new. So what is now considered the West passing down its traditions. But if you look at so we were obviously brought captive here, and before that, we didn't have these issues. I mean, even during slavery, we didn't have these issues. But once we fully assimilated and were destroyed, we assimilated to what began in Greece and ended in America. And so, like, that excuse of, it's a new day and age. No, it's not. America is doing the same thing its forefathers were. Like Islam, like I was talking to a friend of mine. He was saying Islam, their culture is so intertwined with their beliefs that if all of the Qurans were burned, they would still know exactly what they needed to do.
I was saying that last night.
Yeah.
What I was saying is that that's the only religion to where if you took all the Qurans and burned them all, they still have 1 million plus people, more than that actually, that could actually recreate the Quran because they memorized it.
Yeah, and so, and like, we're the only people that are having like these major schisms within our marriages. The Chinese aren't having it. The Japanese aren't having it. Islam definitely isn't having it. I don't know about Russia, but
the Japanese are having it.
They are?
Yeah. They are actually in a, they just like the West.
Yeah, I did hear, especially, I did hear that they are taking on
Chinese
more
has
and
a
more
shortage of women.
Yeah, I did hear that they were taking on more and more Western,
Western values for their women, and it's
women in the careers.
Yeah, I was about to say, I think Korea is following third.
Yeah. So China has too many men. Japan is literally a dying society. That's what they're trying to look to robots, declining birth rates, etc.
Yeah, because their women went into career fields and put careers over.
Right.
Okay.
Right. They did the exact same thing, and it's been disastrous. That's literally a dying population,
like
a dying country. What's that?
No longer, just like the West, no longer having enough children to maintain. Okay.
They're literally looking to as robots to fill these problems. But Brother Khalil, what you were saying is absolutely right. As far as like, this is just an extension of Greco-Roman culture, and the sexual debauchery, moral decay that you found, that was partially the reason why Rome failed. And you're seeing the same thing here. Look at the Senate. It was based on those civilizations in part. And so even when you're looking at homosexuality, and ultimately pedophilia. That's what's going on in this country.
And it's funny because people, they'll look on the dollar bill and go and look at the Washington monuments and all this other stuff. Oh, I wonder what all this Greek and Egyptian stuff is doing here.
Mm-hmm.
Not realizing that they took on a lot of the core values were either blatantly passed down or passed down and repackaged.
I think it'll be interesting to see what happens when school starts back up. People are gonna be struggling to get their kids in school and stuff like that. And I was watching something about automation too. I know we talked about this before, but I thought I saw a video that was talking about how automation was going to remove a lot of the jobs that women had occupied previously, and that was going to cause a lot of issues and stuff like that. But it's crazy though.
A lot of the service sector jobs and a lot of the jobs that are occupied by women and men, people are going to be hit hard. This is going to be like the Industrial Revolution, and it's going to be a time of crisis in that transition.
Yeah.
Because of the jobs. But that's why they're trying to look at different things, UBI and so forth. Trying to address that. But it's a problem. COVID was an issue when many women lost their jobs. That was an issue. But even with all that, you would think, okay, it'd be a mistake for men. I'm not saying you're saying this, but for men to be like, okay, now they're gonna do what they're supposed to do.
No.
No, that's what's gonna happen.
Yeah.
I don't think that's what's gonna happen at all. I don't think. I think because nobody's really ready for that.
For change.
That's coming down the pipe. People are not prepared.
Oh.
Men and women are not prepared. Yeah. So.
Right, brother.
Hmm?
I'm about to pivot on you if you don't mind. I had asked a question a while back about Israel be trampled under the feet of the Gentile until the time the Gentiles through. So I started looking for because my interpretation was way off. So, but I was listening to searching these other guys out, and they were saying that after the 5-day war, that Jerusalem was no longer under the foot of the Gentile. And then he started talking about the time of the Gentile being fulfilled. He started comparing it to like when the Western society started changing in the 60s. And he said, look at the places where the Gentiles live. And actually, this was Pat Robertson. He talked about Europe and America being Gentile nations. And he said, look at what's happening in our countries today. So that's why I was wondering, now, does any of that resonate with you?
I apologize, brother. Can you repeat the first? I was trying to handle something real quick.
On your phone, man.
That was
it's okay.
That was Brother Willie. I had to address something real quick.
Yeah.
Can you repeat the first? Can you repeat that, brother? I apologize.
It's all right, man. I'm just playing. It's cool. No, that was saying I had asked a question about was Jerusalem being trampled under the foot of the Gentile until the time the Gentiles is fulfilled.
Okay.
And like I said, my interpretation was way off. So I started digging, and Pat Robertson was one of the gentlemen that said that after the 5-day war, that when Jerusalem was captured, it was no longer under the foot of the Gentile. And then he mentioned Europe and America being Gentile nations. And he said from that point on, he said basically he was talking about the decline of the Western powers. And that he said the United States was the last what we call it, great power. And he said it's over. He's basically saying it's over. And I think this interview was just a couple years old, right around when COVID was starting. and he was talking about how all the collapse of the markets and with the COVID and everything. So he was saying that that's what he was saying. He was watching the Western nations die, which he described as Gentile nations. So that's why I'm saying, if any of this resonates with you, or do you agree with any of his description?
You got the 6-day war and the 7-day war. The 5-day war is something else. But no, that's okay. As far as Pat Rock, the thing I don't agree with, he said the United States is the last great Western nation.
Or superpower, yeah.
They're not the last superpower.
Okay.
Because if you look, even if you look at and they're not the last Western superpower. When you look at the prophecies in the book of Daniel, what you see is that last one is the reunification of the Roman Empire. What you're seeing is right now it's called the EU.
Okay.
So that's the West.
Yes.
So that's a Western superpower that's actually going to continue to rise as the United States continues to fall. Okay. Now, out of the East, you have 2 superpowers, which are Russia and China. See, I think what a lot of people do, because they in the United States, they put so much art, and because the United States is so powerful, but only powerful for a certain time. Just as fast as it became a superpower, is going to fall into somewhat of obscurity. Right. Hence why you don't see it in biblical prophecy. The Bible is not even dealing with the United States specifically in biblical prophecy. Right. So he can't base that on reading at the time of the Gentiles be fulfilled. That, and another thing, they were constantly being trampled. When you look at different people that were coming in there, the goyim of these different nations, they were constantly trying to take that land.
Yeah, he said since Rome took it. He was saying since Rome overtook it.
Rome took it, and you had the Islamic powers took it, the Turks, or the people that came in there. You had a lot of that. With the Crusades, you had a lot of that.
Okay, all right.
So
I'm still searching for some understanding of that verse. That's the reason why I keep looking.
The time of the Gentiles be fulfilled, they're gonna trample it again. They're trampling it. Okay, so even when you look at again, you're gonna see that man of sin, the son of perdition, abomination, and desolation in that land.
That's right. And he's
so then you look at it, they gonna in the valley of Jehoshaphat. Who gonna be there? The east and the west. It's not until that's over, the battle of Armageddon, where the Lord destroys these nations and he takes Israel into the wilderness, and then they go back into the promised land.
Yeah, I forgot about that part. You're right. Okay.
You brought up something funny, teacher. I was thinking about the other day. I was like, people really think when Jesus comes back that all these countries that are already fighting each other over the ways that they want to do things are going to bend the knee to a deity that they didn't think existed. And because God's not going to, he's not going to run his kingdom next to China. Like, they're not going to be equals. You're going to bend the knee, or you're going to be you finished. That's it. I guess put it nicely. You're finished. So a lot of people think, when Jesus comes back, everything's going to be all good. Everything's going to be all good and gravy. Obviously, America's not going to be judged. Belgium's not going to be judged. None of no nation is going to be judged, and everything's going to be gravy. Not realizing that he's gonna rule on earth. He has things he wants, and he's not. It's like I said, if you're not bending the knee, you're out of here.
You're talking about the Lord.
Yeah.
In his kingdom.
Yep.
Yeah, if you think, well, I wonder what America will be, because he said everybody's going to their own land. Going back to where you actually came from. This is a melting pot, a land full of immigrants.
Yeah.
So I wonder about that. Just a couple of things I want to talk about, and we can wrap it up. What do you think about the Senate bill? I know this is not even a segue. About women, the potential for women to be drafted or be eligible for the selective service like men.
I thought they already had to sign up for selective service. I thought they did that a couple years ago. Well, then sign them up.
You say sign them up?
I only say that because man, look, you can't keep talking trash and don't have to pay. Do I want to see my daughter at war? Much less than I want to see my sons.
Brother, I think Brother Willie and I had a discussion with that. I was saying that these feminists would call for all equality, and a politician would give them what they want and then reinstate the draft bill.
Say that again. The last part of what you said.
I said they would get everything they want, right? The equality and everything. Then somebody will reinstate that draft bill, and your 18-year-old daughter will have to go off and fight. Right? Get captured, get raped, get mingled, go mentally insane, and they can't handle it. That's probably the reality they need.
I don't know.
It's gonna be sad, but
yeah, it's I don't know. It's crazy. I know that's not what they were looking for when they were
taking something.
Equality.
They're taking it too far. That's what happened.
Yeah. But if they do it, what'll likely happen is nobody will get drafted, or they'll figure out something and to keep most women off of the front lines because of the nature of warfare. You're so separated from the enemy now. You can be somewhere pushing a button, controlling a drone, or doing something like that, doing logistics or something. I don't know, but I don't think that's what they were looking for.
You mean the women or the military?
Well,
you say they are looking.
Feminists, because you have some feminists that are saying, yeah, this is fair, but then you have some that's saying they claim they want feminism because it's about the acquisition of power. This is not it. They are saying you to die and reap the spoils.
You mean actually doing what a man got to do?
Yeah.
I want to do. No, I'm shocked.
Did you see the? Did you see the police officers in Detroit?
Yeah.
You saw what they put out. They started shooting. He had a semi-automatic rifle. He started shooting, and then I guess it was two police officers. They took off. They sped away.
Yeah. Bro, I ain't shocked. I seen it. You seen the tapes where that male officer is scrapping and the girls are dancing around the outside like they want to get into the fight and they don't. You seen it on the fire department where the lieutenant got rolled up because his back, the female didn't want to go up the steps with him. And when he complained, they jumped on him and said he should have knew the capability of his firefighter, so he shouldn't have went up the stairs to put the fire out. So
that's great.
I'm gonna tell you this. There was a lady in the hospital. Actually, my mom did it too. When my dad got sick, she said some women showed up to carry him out on the cot. She said, "Oh Lord, they're gonna drop my husband." They had to call for some more help.
Yeah.
For some more help. So people need to stop playing. All right. I'm gonna get y'all in trouble for that one, but I'm retired now. It's okay.
Yeah, that was funny. It was funny, man. It wasn't funny because somebody got shot. He survived, but man, They sped away. I thought they were gonna run into the car. Other guys that was shooting, they was going so fast.
That's neglected duty.
Yeah, and they didn't even
Wait,
report it.
No,
They
ain't
rendered aid after they sped away. I mean, sped away fast. And they came back, but they were like, what were they trying to do? You know, that's so.
They took police officers used to have to they had this drill called hitman, where the guy they would have to fight. They would have a guy dressed up in pads, and the police officers would actually have to fight this guy while he's trying to take away their weapons and stuff. And they want to make sure that, and this is part of training, to make sure these officers would follow procedures and continue to, prove they can fight. Because, on the streets, you want to fight for your life.
Yeah.
There was a couple of women that complained, said it was too rough. So they toned it down and were thinking about ending it. As a matter of fact, somebody's mama called because her son went home with a black eye. Ain't that something? This boy got a nurse mom. He got a nurse, full-grown man, mama calling. Talking about, man, I'd be embarrassed my mama called.
He's trying to be a police officer?
He went home kind of whooped up from the drill. And his mom called and said they was being mean to his son. And see, they not giving people the truth out here on these streets. They done made everything anyway.
I
They already said the military ain't ready for nothing.
I hate to bring this up again, but even when you look at George Floyd, if you look at the tape prior to that, I don't think people realize how big George Floyd is or was. And the police did not get him in the car. They tried to get him in the car. He got out there. That's part of the reason why he ended up on the ground like that.
Mm-hmm.
He was overpowering two police officers. That he was tall and he was super strong. So, like you're saying, what you did out in these streets, he has nothing to play with. You can't you can't call home to mommy if you get a black eye and you're trying to be a police officer.
There's a video here in Columbus. I had to send it to you, man. This officer was fighting his brother and I guess the cashier. They couldn't do nothing with him, and he wasn't even a big dude. This dude actually turned to the cop and said, "Man, you better get your weight up. Get your weight up." I was like, I'd have to bust the dude's head at that point. I'm just saying, the reason I bring that up is the lowering of the standards to put us all at risk. And
it boils down to roles like you were talking about earlier. The battlefield is not really. That's not what it's not even for most. It's not even for a lot of men, to be honest.
It ain't for a lot of men. It is not. Yeah, but everybody want that paycheck, but nobody want to do the work, man. So anyway.
Yeah, I don't know.
My bad.
Go ahead. What you say, brother?
I was talking like what they call it now? A toxic masculine, wasn't it?
You said we a toxic, yeah, a little bit.
Yeah, I was talking like a toxic masculinity. All right.
Yeah, that's when they say that when you want to hear what you gotta say. Anybody else have anything?
Yeah, they talked about the military, bringing women into the military. Mm-hmm. One of the things that came up was women were being sexually mistreated in the military, and that the court system in the military was not being fair to the women who was going through that. And they were saying that they're going to have to make some changes in that area if they bring more women into the military.
I remember a few years ago that was not saying it's not still an issue, but yeah, that was a huge issue that was being brought up, assault in the armed forces, and it not being addressed properly as it goes up the chain of command. I don't know what they're gonna do, but yeah, that was an issue. Probably still is. I don't know. You think about it, be like Israel, where men and women have to volunteer, or they have to serve rather.
Yeah, they have to. Yeah.
They have to. So I don't know. I don't know if they. I can't see. I can't see that, to be honest. I don't know that I can't see that at this point going. It's not in this society, but we'll see. Maybe. I don't know if anybody else had anything. Anything else? All right then, brother. I'm gonna wrap it up. Again, if you're listening, we're gonna be in Indianapolis on Saturday, July 31st, at the Embassy Suite by Hilton in Indianapolis North in the Valencia Boardroom, at 12 p.m. So if you're in the Indianapolis area, come out and hear the word. And anything else? Nothing else, brothers. I'll see you, Lord willing, during Bible study tomorrow evening.
All right, brother. Peace,
All right.
family.
All right, peace.
Peace, everybody.
Peace, everybody.
Peace.
Peace, family. Peace, teacher.
Yeah, peace.